Hello and welcome to the first devlog for my new indie game project. I'm Mr. Gallion and the game is going to be called Tower of Light. Probably. It's a working title, but I'm quite fond of it. I mean, the game has been in my head for years, so I'm happy to finally start developing it. I'm going to call this the episode 0. I will mostly talk about my inspirations, plans, and show my initial progress with the game. The game will be basically a roguelike tactical RPG game. Think Fire Emblem, but with a roguelike twist. In the game, the player will have to climb a tower, while learning skills and getting new weapons and characters. And then, between the runs, the player will be able to watch conversations at the base of the tower, see the characters bonding, talking with each other, and getting bonuses for the next runs. To get inspiration for my game, I've been playing lots and lots of roguelike games for the past year. Games like Spelunky, One Step from Eden, FTL, and Into the Gungeon have been very useful to get ideas. But the biggest influence is probably going to be Hades. I really liked how the story structure worked in Hades. So much so that I thought it'd be a perfect fit for my game. It was like finding a missing piece for my game. So that's when I really started planning for my game. So I must say, this must be the scariest screen ever. I mean, it's like a blank canvas, a screen filled with scary void, just staring right back at you. Ugh, creepy. But I couldn't let that stop me, which is why I started developing the game by not developing the game. Instead, I started by making a shader. For those of you who don't know, a shader is a code that can do visual special effects. But then, you may ask,
isn't it a bit soon for a shader? Aren't you procrastinating?
To that I answer, no, maybe, probably not. But I swear, I have a good reason for this. For you see, I want the game to be like the Fire Emblem games. In those games, they recolored the battle sprites to represent different characters or alignments. It was a really fun detail that I want in my game, and whether or not I would be able to write this shader would influence the way I make my art. So, after many tries, here's what I came out with. Basically, any given pixel has a level of red, green, and blue. Knowing this, I can swap these colors for others. But to do it, I had to use the concept of trilinear interpolation. I will link the Wikipedia link in the description, but the basic idea is that it approximates the value in a 3-dimensional space. But in this case, each dimension, which are generally called X, Y, and Z axis, will be called R, G, and B for red, green, and blue. But honestly, I didn't think the Wikipedia article about it was very clear. But I found another site with a formula which was much easier to follow. So, after some really annoying maths, I ended up with this, which I found to be good, but not enough. So I applied another interpolation over it, so I can change the darker colors to a color I wanted. Yes, much better. So I got excited and quickly drew this shield in like 10 minutes, which was, of course, super ugly. I mean, look at these colors. But then I applied the shader. Yes, very good. To really test it out, I tested various colors, and it worked beautifully. Yep, it's a very powerful shader, alright? Look at all these beautiful shoots. By the way, this is the style I'm going for. I don't have much art to show off for now, but this is the general idea. It should have thick colored outlines, generally bluish. It also has very simple lighting, using only pure white for light and using shadows sparingly. The game should be colorful, and its colors should have a bright pastel look, with a splash of saturated colors here and there. This is not only to set the game visually apart from other roguelikes, which are usually dark and gritty, but it's also because one of my favorite games, as well as my favorite anime of all times, uses this color palette. In particular, Osomatsu-san's openings will be a big inspiration for my game. I really love how the openings look. I mean, it's so colorful, it's beautiful. After coding this shader, I was able to actually start development. To make things easier, I got a package called TBS Framework. It really helped me getting started, but a lot was still needed to be done. For starters, I didn't even know how events work, so I needed to learn that. But I was able to work through it. Mostly. But having these bugs ironed, I managed to create a simple menu-based system. Currently, only the cancel and wait buttons work. The cancel button returns the unit to the previous position, while the wait button makes the unit stay in position. You can also notice how the unit turns grey after waiting. I'm so proud of you, my shader. Anyways, this is all I've done for now. The framework allows for attacks to happen, but I haven't implemented it yet. But it's probably the first thing I will have to do from now. Talking about what to do next, my two main objectives from now will be creating more art and to improve the battle system. Less to say, I'm very excited to see where it will go. It's my largest project I've done so far, so honestly it's pretty daunting to just list everything I have to do. But I really want to finish this project. I have loads and loads of unfinished games, so I can tell finishing a game is a monumental task. It is, after all, one of the main reasons I started this devlog. With this devlog, I held myself accountable, help practice my English, but most importantly, it will help to keep me incentivized and organized. Anyways, if you want to keep up with the project, please subscribe, or if you have any notes or suggestions of any kind, you can comment below. Both of these will really help me to keep my motivation and help me as a developer. But honestly, if you watched this far, I'm already grateful. Thanks everyone, and hopefully see you next time.